It is Final Four time in the state tournaments for baseball and lacrosse at St. Ignatius High School. And it is also time for one of the great events in the OHSA, the 106th State Track and Field Meet. We are here to preview it all on a special spring sports edition of SIBN Across the Table with baseball, lacrosse, and track and field, all with big events this week. We start with Coach Brad Gaynor, St. Ignatius Wildcat baseball team, the Cleveland Regional champions, and now the Wildcats going to their first Final Four since 2009. Coach Gaynor led the Cats to Final Fours in 07, 08, and 09. And we're here to preview it all. I'm John Fanta alongside Greg Zeiton and Pat McGuire. The Wildcats come off of a nearly flawless performance on Sunday as the Cleveland Regional title game was resumed. The Wildcats taking on Toledo St. Francis, and St. Francis awoke a beast on Friday after the top of the first. The Wildcats banging out 14 runs on 16 hits, heading to the Final Four. Greg Zeiton, what a performance. And now this team, first Final Four since 2009. Coach Gaynor, career record of 196 and 65. When you look at what this ball club is doing right now, it's very special.
That it is. You look at really since early in the season, this team has won 21 out of their last 22 games, 12 games in a row. That's, of course, all the playoff games. Before this, some regular season games as well. They are on a roll. That's the only way you can put it. Just look at what they did against Toledo St. Francis, who had stellar defensive plays from the likes of Finkler at shortstop, Dan Rowbottom at second, Cole Nito at third, Nick Fabian in the outfield, and so on. At the plate, 16 runs, 14 hits. You can't ask for much more. They put up a 10-run inning. They had 4 RBI triples in that inning. They had a couple others in the game. Pansteris had 2 triples in 2 consecutive innings. And then pitching, Nick Margavicius, solid 5 innings of shutout ball. You can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, and it's going to be expected that we see Tom roll on Friday, 7 o'clock, the state semifinal contest between St. Ignatius and Gahanna Lincoln. The Wildcats will be meeting up with a team that stands right now at 22-9. They were making their 4th regional appearance since 2008. The Lions have had a very good season, and they're treating their 22-year head coach Mike Shea to his first state Final Four. They defeated Hilliard Darby 8-1 in regional final in Dublin on Saturday. And a lot like the Wildcats, then the seniors, they went off to commencement. They went to commencement actually before, and then went to the park, and they absolutely laid a barrage on Hilliard Darby, led by Alec Tuohy in their 5-run 5th inning. That's where Gahanna Lincoln stands. Breaking down the other teams, you have Aurora, the Greenmen, more of a local team as well, and the field with that, they are going under their first year head coach Tim Deering. So a new experience for Coach Deering and his team, a senior-led team. They've had pitching. It's as far as you go, and they won their regional title game. They got through the rain, some of it on Friday, 2-1 over the Menor Cardinals, and congrats to the Cardinals on an excellent athletic year. And then you look at Archbishop Moeller. They don't need much of an introduction with players being produced like Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Larkin. This is a team, the Fighting Crusaders, that captured their 6th state baseball championship by defeating Westlake last year 9-6, ending Westlake's memorable run in that state final. And they are heading to another Final Four. They have won 17 consecutive games. They defeated Lakota East and Northmont. What a story that is. Pat McGuire, your breakdown of this weekend. What do you see out of the Wildcats? Pitching is as far as you go. On top of that defense, here we are.
Well, that's all it's been for the Wildcats. They've Nick Margavicius was on the mound on Sunday down in Parma at Tri-C West, and he was absolutely phenomenal. It was 3 hits and no runs, and when you give Nick 2 or 3 runs, he'll capitalize for you, let alone when you give him 14 runs and a 10-run 3rd inning. So he really came out, and he's been consistent for the Wildcats all year, 8-0 coming into that ball game. And Tom Roll has been consistent for the Wildcats as well. So defense, like we said before, Cole Nito, Dan Rowbottom, Tyler Finkler, all seniors, they've really been able to step up their game and just really play well for the Wildcats.
Coach Gaynor remembers the experience of being on Brian Morgan's 2002 state championship team as an assistant, also the 2000 state runner-up club, and now he's looking to deliver a 2nd state championship team for St. Ignatius baseball history. What a weekend it's about to be in Huntington Park. We'll have the call on Friday at 7 o'clock, beginning with pregame at 6:30 for St. Ignatius and Gahanna Lincoln. Here we are, the state semifinals in baseball, and we're previewing lacrosse and track and field as well.
The St. Ignatius varsity lacrosse team is going to the Final Four for the first time since 1996. They're 17-1 and coming off a big and memorable win against the Hudson Explorers 11-10 for their 11th straight win in a row. They're going to take on Dublin Jerome in this Final Four matchup. Dublin Jerome is a team, they're 15-6, but 4 of those losses have come against top 10 teams. What do you think we can expect from the Wildcats coming into this game?
Well, first off, Dublin Jerome, they lost. They were the number 1 team in Ohio all of last year, and they lost in a heartbreaker, 6-7 to Upper Arlington last year in the state championship. So they're an experienced team down in the Final Four weekend, and they're very talented. They have a kid, Shane Witt, who is verbally committed to play Jacksonville, and he had some comments about about losing. He said, our team really had a good season, and they lost in championship, and no one has forgotten that feeling, losing in a heartbreaker. So I definitely think they're hungry, but I think the Wildcats are going to be a little bit, they're going to have to play with a chip on the shoulder. First time coming back since 95 or 96. I don't know how many years that is. 95, since 95. So their coaches and 3 of their coaches, I think, on the coaching staff were on that team in 95. So Ignatius does have some experience also in the Final Four. So
Yes, and they're coming off a great win against the Hudson Explorers, a memorable game, one in which we saw Mike Vitale score 4 goals. He switched from midfield to attack. What do you think Mike has done well to really help him play attack?
his foot speed is extremely fast. He kind of reminds me of a David Joseph type player. David Joseph started out attack as senior, but then he switched back to midfield for the rest of senior year. And Vitale's kind of doing the opposite, although he's a junior. Started in midfield and then switching to attack. So Vitale, when he gets it behind the goal, it's hard for a defender with a long ball to keep him in front of him. His stick skills are very skilled, and his speed is unmatched.
And we've talked about this Wildcat defense the whole year. They're led by Joe Sill and C.J. Haig in goal. C.J.'s had a couple big games. He only had 8 saves against Hudson, but nonetheless, they executed their game plan, which I think was one of the most important things.
Oh, definitely. Those 8 saves, those are against, 2, maybe 3 Division I recruits, too. I remember a very memorable save that was key. He stuffed Bo Lord when Bo Lord was coming right across the crease. But that is very true. Wildcats need to stick to their game plan. I think it starts with the Jaguar defense, applying pressure when pressure is needed to be applied, but they can't expand too much and make it, too easy for a Dublin Jerome to score.
And we've seen all the long stick middies and all the defensive players play very well. We saw Joe Still have a huge game. Pat Mulak stepped up very big. We look for them to play very well against a talented Dublin Jerome team that cannot be overlooked.
Oh yeah, so tomorrow, 7:30 at College Wooster, it's going to be quite a game. I'm ready. I think we're ready for it.
I think we are ready too.
8 St. Ignatius Wildcat track and field participants are on their way to Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium on Friday and Saturday for the 106th annual track and field state meet. And we're in to talk about this now, led by the 4x1 team of Enzo Canada, the versatile seniors Pat Jeffries, and the always classy Dan Way, and then the freshman James Norris, who has been a thrill to watch. Then freshman Luke Wagner, he'll be in the 1600-meter. Jack Miller, Joe Arquillo in the 3200. Kevin Kavalek as well. Kavalek will be performing in discus and shot put. Very good year for the Wildcats. Not only have we seen in the present, Greg, but the future with these freshmen, Norris and Wagner, it is looking very bright for Coach Chuck Kyle